What do you do when you can't sleep? Steal horses? Kill Trojans? Hide in piles of corpses? Yeah, me neither. I mostly just watch YouTube. Hello and welcome back. Today we are reading the great books of Western civilization, beginning with the Iliad. I'm going to be going over book 10 today from the Robert Fagles translation, and as always, I will begin with a quick plot summary and then go into analysis. Agamemnon and Menelaus have a difficult time sleeping, so they rise and get the other captains together for a meeting. Agamemnon asks for a volunteer to go and scout the Trojan ranks and discover what they're planning. Diomedes volunteers for this mission and chooses Odysseus to go with him. Meanwhile, Hector, who is also awake, sends a scout named Dolon to do the same thing. The two Greeks notice Dolon before he sees them, so they hide on the sides of the road amongst piles of corpses until he passes by, then get up and pursue and capture him. Odysseus makes the man feel that he is safe and won't be killed, and then asks him to tell all about the Trojans, where they're positioned, what their plans are, etc. Dolon tells them that the Trojans in their camp are all awake and keeping watch, but that their allies are in separate camps and that they are all asleep. He tells them where they can find the Thracians' camp, whose king is rumored to have brought fine horses with him to Troy. Diomedes kills Dolon, and then he and Odysseus go to find the Thracian camp. Upon arriving, Odysseus steals the horses while Diomedes kills 13 men, including the Thracian king. Athena then warns them that they should get back to the ships immediately, because another god is on the move, trying to make sure that they get captured. Thus, they ride the horses back as fast as they can back to their own ships. There, the horses are marveled at and the men are welcomed back with open arms. The Greeks have suffered terrible losses, and Agamemnon appears to be responding to this by changing his attitude. In the last chapter we saw him weeping, but here we see his attitude change in a different way. He's humble now. We've seen him rally the troops by calling them cowards or insulting them, usually while he hangs back from the fighting himself. But tonight it's different. Note what he says when he asks Menelaus to go and wake up the other captains. "Shout wherever you go, tell them to stay awake, and call each man by his name and father's line. Show them all respect. Not too proud now. We are the ones who ought to do the work." Agamemnon even goes and tells a small lie to honor his brother when he is going to wake Nestor. "He woke before me, came and roused me first." Nestor's reaction to all this tells us volumes about the merit that Agamemnon's shift in attitude has gained him in the eyes of his soldiers. True, when the man leaps in the breach that way, no one can blame or disobey him. No Achaean, not when he spurs the troops and gives commands. The ancient Greeks hearing this poem also would have noticed this shift in attitude and praised him for it. This is the first time that we're seeing Agamemnon, and Menelaus for that matter, jump in the breach or do the work instead of making other people do it. The hard times they've fallen on have made them humble and more willing to take it on themselves. There are two more examples of humility in this chapter. One, when Agamemnon asks Diomedes to pick his partner for the raid. But no false respect. Don't pass over the better man and pick the worse. Don't bow to a soldier's rank, an eye to his birth, even if he's more kingly. Diomedes picks Odysseus and praises him as the best possible choice, and Odysseus stops him. "Not too long on the praise. Don't fault me either. You're talking to Argive men who know my record." This newfound humility by all of the Greeks, as opposed to their glory-seeking pride, is probably just due to the dire circumstances, but it's noteworthy nonetheless. Next, Dolon gets captured by Odysseus and Diomedes and begs for his life. Now, we might think that Odysseus lied to him by telling him not to worry, but I don't think he did. What he actually told Dolon was, "Death is your last worry." That's not a lie. Death is every person's last worry. However, both Dolon and we, the readers, heard what we wanted to in those words, expecting him to be spared. Once again, Odysseus proves his reputation as a clever tactician. Then again, Dolon appears to be a little too optimistic throughout the time that we know him. When he first hears Diomedes and Odysseus running behind him, he thinks that it's some allies of his that have come to tell him that Hector has called off the mission. He was also hoping to be given Achilles' team in exchange for the intel that he would gather, which Odysseus tells us is impossible because nobody but Achilles can drive that team. Unfortunately for him, he's gullible and optimistic the entire time he's in this chapter. The fact that Diomedes and Odysseus do decide to kill him is one other example of the war turning, quote, savage in its final phase, as we've talked about before. The Greeks are not taking prisoners anymore and are not interested in wealth, just in victory. At another time, they probably would have been willing to capture him and exchange his life for some more wealth. However, at this moment in which the Greeks have taken heavy losses and their fate stands upon the edge of a knife, they can't take chances, and as Diomedes says, why spare him if he's just going to fight us again tomorrow? The main point of this chapter, however, I think, is Agamemnon and Menelaus' shift in attitude. They're taking more responsibility for leading the charge and leading the Greeks onward, and we'll see them do that more in the next chapter. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or learned something new, please like it and comment below to let me know what it was. And as always, if you're interested in seeing more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.